when the lane moving fast. Hey, let them all cross. If they hate, then let them hate and make a bigger boss. Hey.
This episode is brought to you by SPI Logistics, the premier freight agent logistics firm in North America. For over 40 years, SPI has been diligently building the most successful freight agent network to provide first-class relationships for our shippers, receivers, and carrier partners. We are more than another transportation network. We are a dedicated team of professionals united by one singular purpose, and that is to expedite our agents' success. All of our agents are set up for success on day one, as they are provided with a full suite of support staff that is ready to assist them with everything from after-hours emergencies to financial and administrative needs on a no-fee basis. This way, you can focus on continuing to grow your business. There is no financial risk to start, and you have the ability to earn up to 75% in commissions. If you are looking to take control of your financial future and build your business with the backing of one of the most successful logistics firms in North America, visit www.spi3pl.com to learn more. Do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. Hey guys, before we jump into the episode, I wanted to let you know it is brought to you by Revenova, the official TMS provider for the Freight Coach. You guys, I've been a broker for a long time, and the tools that are at your disposal with Revenova help you eliminate bouncing between systems, which improves your accuracy when you are managing multiple tasks throughout your workday. Plus, it's built into the Salesforce cloud, so your CRM is fully integrated with your TMS, eliminating yet another silo. In today's day and age, you are definitely concerned about the safety of your data. With Revenova, it's fully protected. They have cutting-edge security that keeps your information safe so you can focus on what matters most, and that's growing your business. Speaking of growing your business, with Rate and Lane IQ, you get real-time pricing and route recommendations, helping you optimize costs and improve operational efficiencies, which ultimately helps you make smarter decisions. If you are like me and have recurring shipments from non-EDI customers, they have intuitive cloning features that let you easily replicate previous shipments, saving both shipper and carrier rates with just a few taps. If you are ready to learn more, visit www.revenova.com to request a demo. Just do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Podcast, the top podcast in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. But most importantly, you guys provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I do say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak with transportation professionals, because at the end of the day, I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve. So you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Happy Monday, everybody. I am rolling solo today. So when we do solo shows, you guys, we're going to be doing our lane analysis powered by my friends over at DAT. We're going to be breaking down some industry headlines as well. And as always, I'm just going to give you guys my unfiltered opinion on what I think a lot of this stuff is going on. But most importantly, like, how can you apply this to your business? What should you be looking out for? And how do we win, right? Because like, there's always going to be something. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if you're over the age of, 15, you probably understand that like shit's going to happen, and it's going to continue to happen. And it's our ability to adapt in those moments is really what separates the winners from the rest of the pack out there. But as I mentioned, you guys, let's dive into This Week in Freight, powered by my friends over at DAT. You guys, we do this 3 times a week. All right. We break down dry van, reefer, flatbed. All I need you guys to do, though, because this is 100% viewer submitted, email my team, podcast@thefreightcoach.com, shipping city, delivery city, trailer type. You can round up to the nearest big city if you think I'm somehow using this for lead gen. I'm not. I literally pay for the best lead generation software out there. I'm literally just doing this to help you guys read markets, because it's very easy for pundits and others to sit there and point and say, look at all of this. This is what's going on. Okay, cool. But like, how do we go out there and deliver that information to our customers? How do we win more business? How do we read what's going on? Because now more than ever, and again, I'm going to pull up this lane here and I'm going to explain it a little bit more in depth. So this one, you guys, it is the Midwest. I swear to God, the Midwest is the hottest market in the entire United States right now, because for the last couple of weeks, all 3 trailer types have all been Midwest-based lanes out there. So clearly the money is in the Midwest. And as a Midwest boy myself, it's Midwest versus everybody. This lane is Des Moines, Iowa to Richmond, Virginia for a dry van. And if this is your first time tuning in, I always look at the miles first, you guys, because transit time vastly affects what I am going to quote on lanes depending on the day of the week that it ships out, right? So this is a great Monday through Wednesday ship day. But if this is going Thursday to Monday, Friday to Monday, it's going to be more expensive out there. We move a lot of lanes that fall on that 900 mile to 1,000 mile mark that have to pick Friday and deliver Monday. And unless you get a carrier who needs to get back into that market, generally it is a little bit more expensive at that time. It's kind of the general rule of thumb out there. It is not lane specific. It is kind of across the country that I see stuff like this. And, with this one in particular, all right, obviously it's up. It's up about $1,000 year over year on this lane. And I know right now in particular, you guys, for a lot of individuals who've never maybe seen a market shift of this magnitude out there, I understand today it might seem a little overwhelming, but 12 months from now, when we look back, and then if you look at the rolling 24 months, you will see some eerie similarities out there between peak pricing, spikes in the market, and everything else, because most lanes, you guys, no matter what is going on in the market, kind of perform the same. All right. There's going to be those peak seasonalities that happen. And I want you guys to pay attention to those. A couple of very easy examples out there, you guys, is holiday weekends, stuff like that. Any extended times, you're going to see peak holiday pricing, DOT inspection week, stuff like that. But there are peak seasonalities of specific lanes, like produce season, and then up in the northwest, during Christmas trees, stuff like that. Flatbed season right now, kind of across the country. But there's those peak seasonalities that happen out there, and the rate's going to be the rate. All right. It is as simple as that. So like right now, what we're seeing out here, all right, the last 3 days, this lane has moved at like $4,200 out there. So if you're in a spot market truck in hand style pricing agreement with your customer, you're in a very strong position right now, but you can't just keep jacking up the prices without substance behind it. What do I mean by that? Fuel prices have cooled off, right? Like fuel prices aren't rising out there. But again, if there's capacity shortages for whatever reason, you need to explain all of this stuff to your customers, because that's why they hire you. But I think a lot of what we're seeing right now, this might sound like a little outlandish, but there's still capacity in the market. You just aren't going to pay what you want to pay. And your customer might not pay what they want to pay on some of these lanes. But to break trucking and brokerage specifically in its simple form is this, you guys, the person with the truck wins. All right. That rate might be $5,000. All right. Well, let's use this lane in particular. Your customer might hit you up and say, Chris, I need Des Moines to Richmond dry van. It's got to pick today. All right. They might have paid $4,000 on this last week, but that's not the today price. Okay. If that's got to move, it's got to get out today. This is your option. You have to present that option to your customer. Obviously, let them decide. I'm not going in there and ever going to say gouge any of your customers by any stretch of the imagination, but you need to explain to them, like, where we're at right now, the rates are only as good as like maybe the next 15 to 20 minutes. Start putting a little timestamp on that as well. That's just something that I've done in the past, but that doesn't go without substance. I've explained this to my customers, like, hey, the rates here, like there's a shelf life. I can't just commit to this rate for the next month, for example, unless you want to give me an open checkbook, then we can have some fun, but that's not the case out there. So, again, and it's the closer to ship date, the better off you're going to be, like the more accurate your pricing is going to be. At least I've experienced this, where there's going to be times where, again, we quote something on a Tuesday with like a lot of confidence that it picks up on a Thursday, and then we're off. The market has shifted that much. Our normal capacity isn't going to be back in time. Things happen. So again, you have to provide rates with substance out there. And if you have a truck for this lane in particular, maybe it's going to be more in line with the price that your customer wants, but it's not on the day that they want to ship it on. Deliver that option no matter what. Hey, listen, I can get you that rate that we normally do, but you said this has to pick on Tuesday. My guy's going to be there on Wednesday. Can you wait? Can your customer wait an extra day for this? We can get that to work on that price. Provide multiple options here, you guys. Don't take any form of data as like that's what it's going to be to get it done 100% of the time. Use these benchmarks as what they are. They are benchmarks to help you read the market, but that truck in hand, that situational awareness about what's going on in the market is going to save you right now. okay? Because a lot of people are going to just start fucking throwing rates against the wall and hoping they stick. And yeah, they might be exponentially more expensive than everyone, and they might get it that one time, but that's not sustainable, right? Like, your customers notice this. They see who's keeping things in line, because if we're going long-term here, you guys, and that's where our mindset always has to be, because it's cheaper to keep a customer than to find a new one. If your mindset is long-term here, you guys, you can eke this out where you can provide superior service and communication and better pricing than everybody else, especially right now, because a lot of people love to gouge in this environment. So this lane, truck in hand pricing, you're in a very strong spot. Contract, probably going to be doing a rebid. I think most lanes are going to be doing a rebid out there, and there's a lot of great tools that you can do. But that lane is Des Moines, Iowa to Richmond, Virginia. That is This Week in Freight, powered by my friends over at DAT, you guys. And as you know, we do this 3 times a week, and we're just out here trying to help you guys read the actual market from somebody who actually moves freight. All right. I'm not just a pretty face, although that is a very high quality of mine. I move freight every single day, you guys. I'm out here cold calling, prospecting, moving loads. I'm doing all of this stuff. And one of my, at least for me in particular, I have a very hard time learning from people or listening to people that aren't doing the work that they're talking about, right? Like, I need to learn from people who've actually built a company before, built a freight company before, sold a freight company before, done all of this. That's who I learn best from. I'm not saying anybody else's advice is bad. My mindset is if your idea works so well, why aren't you out there doing it? It's as simple as that, because like, there's a higher upside on building a transportation company from the ground up if everything's in line, right? So that's just my mentality with a lot of stuff. And that's why it's like, with this show in particular, no matter what, I'm going to continue to bring that information on what I do from the front lines here, you guys. None of this shit is theory that I talk about. This is literally what I apply inside of my business day in and day out to help grow everything out there. Okay. I'm not always going to be right, but just know everything that I talk about is shit that I'm actually doing inside of my business. And none of this is a theory. So that being said, let's break down some articles here, you guys. We're going to be breaking down 3 of them, possibly 4 of them today. And yeah, let's dive right in. The first article is from ttnews.com. This one came out last Thursday, I think. Yeah, last Thursday. And it goes in line with the hottest topic that is out there right now, and that's freight theft. We're talking about how a lot of these tactics are the same but different. I had the NMFTA on the show last Thursday, and they were talking. They have an entire fraud suite out there, free, by the way. Free is always a good price for you guys to utilize. But you know, the tactics have changed out there. Okay, like I jokingly say, I missed the days of double brokering when they'd only take $200 off the top and fucking still pay the carrier on time, and you know, we would just go about our business. But it's a highly organized crime ring now that's going on out there. So the title of this article: Detectives Bust Alleged. It's always alleged on the front end. Thanks a lot, lawyers. Theft rings reselling cargo online. And then police say stolen freight is unloaded on Facebook Marketplace, eBay, and stuff like that. And, you know, again, it's like that's the real thing now is a lot of this freight that is stolen is gone before the fucking truck that even picked it up has delivered the load, right? Like, they're selling all of this shit online. They're able to liquidate it, or, you know, depending on where you're at in the country. Out west here, there's a lot of off-market gas stations. For example, they're not like aligned with any of the major market ones, and they always have random trucks out front with no logos on the side, but have like a bunch of random inventory from very large brands in the back of them that they're unloading there. I don't know what all of that is for, but I'm just saying a lot of it is different out there. So police busts, you know, they resell these stolen goods. And then businesses booming online and in-store shopping venues where bargain buyers seek deals. Facebook Marketplace, eBay, and other online market places. Let me see. Sorry, this article. All right, there we go. We're watching transnational organized crime groups become the dominant force in cargo theft landscape, with a clear preference for goods that move easily through online resale channels, said Keith Lewis, the vice president of Verisk CargoNet. His recent remarks were included in the cargo theft during the first quarter in the U.S. and Canada. Estimated losses for the first 3 months were $138 million, unchanged from 2025. Confirmed cargo theft cases up. Wow, this is terrible. Sorry, guys. This is some of the worst wording I've ever seen in an article. Confirmed cargo theft cases numbered 767. Okay. All right. Clearly, I'm not the only one who went to public school. The author of this article went to public school as well. Current patterns suggest that organized crime groups will continue prioritizing high-value, easily redistributed goods concentrated on activity in major logistics hubs that support rapid movement and resale. And again, you might be asking yourself, like, what is this? I look at it, depending on the freight you're moving out there, you need to start asking yourself, how easy would it be to sell this shit on the streets? All right. It's not just high value goods anymore, i.e. like beverages, alcohol, seafood. You got to start thinking, like, how easily could somebody sell an entire truckload of this, right? Look at your basic household goods, toilet paper, Q-tips, cleaning supplies, anything like that. How easy could somebody liquidate an entire truckload like that? And some of you might be thinking, like, I don't know, I'm not a criminal. Congratulations, either am I. But what's something that you use every single day? What's something you're searching on like some of these third party? I'm trying not to get sued and say like some of these ones are doing this and allowing this. But like when you start seeing some of this stuff, when you're looking online to have stuff shipped to your house and you're asking yourself, like, why is this one $20 cheaper than every other reseller out there? Maybe it's stolen goods. I'm just saying. But again, like you look at these things, how easy would it be to liquidate a lot of this stuff? Could they sell an entire truckload of this before anybody even knows that it's stolen? It says Palos Heights police departments in Southwest Chicago unraveled an apparent large-scale fencing operation in Illinois thanks to a tip-off by an intrepid loss prevention investigator. The company reached out to police in May of 2025 about 100 pairs of hunting boots worth $40,000 stolen from Chicago. On the lookout for its boots, a company investigator reportedly found online listings on Facebook Marketplace and eBay for identical boots. The investigator bought a pair through eBay that was delivered through a return address traced back to a residence in Palos Heights. Police detective executed search warrants for online accounts selling the boots. They found the account holder allegedly was selling large quantities of those boots, as well as a dozen other items suspected to be stolen, including vacuums, other shoes, water tanks, computer monitors, headphones, blenders, and other consumer merchandise out there. So, I look at it where, and this article breaks down a lot of different cargo that you would think. A lot of the normal suspected stuff out there, you guys, on what is being targeted. But it's like, I look at it now where when it comes down to it, like this is like above your standard theft in my opinion, right? Like we look at a lot of these situations that we're seeing out there. It is organized crime. It's state-sponsored terrorism. There are clear financial crimes that are going on with this stuff as well. I mean, if they're able to go out there and sell all of this stuff online, like, I mean, anybody can sell anything on the internet, but like, how is that stuff being tracked? And it's like, as a business owner who pays their taxes and does everything right, I think now that you're putting all of this stuff in there, like, this is what I mean by it's like, I want like actual, like serious repercussions for people's actions. Like, I think stuff like this, because I think the downstream effect, every time goods get stolen, then there's an insurance claim, and then premiums go up, and then the cost of goods go up. And then all of us individuals out here who, do the right thing and don't commit crimes, we end up paying for this, right? But then what makes it even worse, though, is I don't have any reports of this, but I've heard from some people in the industry off the record that like there are specific commodities that are out there that are going to be uninsurable in the near future, i.e. a lot of these high theft goods that are out there. All right. Their insurance companies are going to drop them because we're talking about hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars of stolen goods throughout a time period. And at a certain point in time, you guys, like I've always said, insurance companies are in there to make, they're not your friend. All right. They're there to protect themselves. They love taking money. They hate paying it out. All right. In its simplest form. So it's like, I look at a lot of these things now and it's like, how is that going to affect the economy long term? If we're talking about major household goods that are no longer able to be insured. How is that going to go about? What is that going to look like? So again, like this freight theft, I think, is a lot more serious than maybe. I know a lot of people think it's a big deal. They know it's organized, but I think they don't understand how deep it actually goes and the total implications on where things are, and why we need like actual top level government intervention here, i.e., FBI, national security, all of that stuff. Like it's at that point. So yeah, it's always good to talk about it, right? But like, I really, really, really hope the government moves very fast here and like drops a massive hammer on some of these individuals, to actually put in the fear of repercussions out there, because I think most individuals aren't afraid, because as I saw a couple of quotes from some of these guys who've been arrested, they're like, oh, a year in jail, pfft, that's nothing, I made $10 million, right? Like, so it's like we got to do something out here to make this a lot more challenging for these individuals. And again, collectively as an industry, we got to come together on this. Sign up for the NMFTA's product, you guys. It's free. All right, sign up for that. Put those best practices out there. We are better than the fraudsters. All right, we are better than them. We are smarter than them. We are more agile than them. We have more data than they do. Okay, so we got to come together as an industry to break a lot of this stuff down. Next article we're going to be breaking down is about Motus. This is from overdriveonline.com. And then this was the FMCSA chief details Motus's progress in week 1. 1 week after the official rollout of the FMCSA's highly anticipated registration overhaul, Derek Bars has released a major progress report on the Motus platform. Designed to completely replace the agency's legacy fraud-prone licensing system, Motus has a strict identity-verified gatekeeping architecture. In its first 7 days of operation, they saw an unprecedented volume. Over 120,000 users applied for an account. More than 10,000 regulated entities successfully finalized their application, and 13,000 existing motor carriers officially logged in to the secure and verify their US DOT numbers. Chief Bars emphasized that the system was launched without compromise, signaling a permanent end to the area where fraudulent paper brokers, double brokering syndicates, and chameleon carriers could easily spin up fake identities to exploit the spot market. I look at, what this can do long term. Like I know stopping it on the front end, like, hey, we got to stop the bleeding, but then we got to like really fix everything internally. And I know that that's probably going to come down in a multi-phase process. But I look at with where a lot of this goes to protect the integrity of the industry as a whole, right? Because, there are like they had said in the article, paper brokers, chameleon carriers, all of this stuff that's out there. It's going to be interesting to see what this actually does to secure and protect the legitimate providers. All right. Because like that's ultimately all I'm concerned about. How do we protect the legitimate business owners? How do we ensure that they're going to be taken care of? One area that again, this could be coming down in the multi-phase approach with how they're rolling this out. But it's like, are they going to not allow the transfer of DOTs and MC numbers in the sale of a business moving forward? Because if we look at how a lot of this stuff is done, it's not, if you're using a lawyer and everything to process the sale of your business, you're doing things the right way, but it's the mass purchasing of MCs through Facebook and other black market style websites that are out there where people are selling their business. And again, and this is what I want the FMCSA to look into. Most importantly, I know every government agency is tapped with, the amount of resources that they have out there. But I think with phase 2, or whenever you guys start purging a lot of the existing carriers that are in network and operating, is we got to look at how many businesses are out there that they never technically sold their company. Like on paper, they got paid for it, right? Maybe they got a fucking envelope of cash. I don't know how they did it, but they just transferred ownership, i.e. gave somebody else the logins to their business, their bank account, all of this stuff. And they're able to sell their business and they walked away. But unknowingly, those individuals who walked away are going to be liable in the event anything happens, because on paper, they still own the business, right? All they did was just change the digital footprint of it. So I look at it as there has to be a way, and I hope that they're doing this. I know the FMCSA watches this show. How do you think that I got in contact with them to come on the show, right? But it's one of those situations where we got to look at it now, like, how is all of this being transacted? How are we going to track this? How are we going to stop this MC farm? Because, like, yes, this stops this on the front end. This is a great product. I'm a massive fan of Motus and what they're doing here. But how does this stop those individuals who own 75 MCs currently? Like, use those digital tracking. I know that they fucking listen and watch everything that we do and at the government anyways. So it's like, how are we going to be able to track all of these IP addresses out there? How are we going to be able to block anything where if they're using any whatchamacallit, I forget the name of those things. Hold on, I have one. VPNs, stuff like that. How are we going to track all of that stuff and compile that data to block any of those individuals from gaining access to doing business here in the United States? Because, like, I look at it like, if you don't have a physical presence in the United States of America at all, why are you able to operate in the United States? From a digital standpoint, I'm not saying working remote or, having offshore employees is a bad thing, but, like, if your core business, 99% of your business is transacted through a foreign country, how does that really protect the people who are doing it here, right? And then stopping all of this stuff, right? So I think that there's a digital footprint that's out there. I know the NMFTA is putting a ton of work into this, and I hope that they all align on this to stop a lot of this, because ultimately, no matter what, I just want the people who are doing things the right way to be given an equal opportunity to grow their business and not have to fight and compete with fraudulent actors. Because, again, if you're competing with people who don't care about paying their bills or making, or paying their taxes and actually operating an ethical business, how can we compete with that? We can't. They'll always be able to do it for cheaper. And then they just fucking reincarnate and they just go out of business and all of that stuff. And then they just put a new tag on the side of their trucks, right? So it's like, it's a great first step. I just, again, hope they go very, very hard in the paint on keeping all of these people out of our industry. All right, third and final article, freightwaves.com. This was written by my friend Adam Wingfield. He was on the show here recently. C.H. Robinson is removing carriers based on safety scores, excuse me. The freight world has made its first massive strategic move following that Supreme Court decision. C.H. Robinson, the nation's largest freight broker, has aggressively overhauled its carrier onboarding and compliance protocols. Not surprised by that. Systematically purging and locking out carriers from its network based strictly on safety scores, SMS metrics, and historical FMCSA profiles. The F4A federal preemption shield is completely dead, meaning brokers can now be sued for millions in state courts under traditional negligence. And a lot of that has been on the table for a while now, just an FYI. C.H. Robinson legal team, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, I'm just trying to. So, it's been 2 weeks out there, and I look at this as, when you see a company like Robinson doing this, which rightfully so, I know they have to do this, and I'm sure they've always done this to a certain point, right? Like, it's easy to sit there and blame certain individuals and certain companies. You see it all the time. But I look at it as when they do something of this magnitude, a lot of people are going to follow suit if they haven't already followed suit. And I look at it and this is what I had said, and I know a lot of people on the old interweb think that I'm completely full of shit and wrong, and there's no way that small carriers and carriers could ever suffer from something like this. But it's going to be very hard to operate in the market when some of the people who control the most volume of freight, I'm not saying you're not going to be able to find freight to haul, but usually if a company of their size does something, a lot of the other large megas and other large companies and medium and small brokers are probably following suit if they haven't already followed suit based on this, right? So I look at it as this is going to this is going to change things, right? And when they are doing this and they're gutting it, I know there was a specific example that I saw in an article that there was somebody who had done like 200 plus loads from them and literally delivered a load from them like a couple of days prior, and then logged into their online load board to book another one, and they were kicked out. And then they called in and they're like, hey, what's going on here? And they explained to them like, hey, you don't meet our safety scores anymore. We cannot use you on this freight. So like, there's a very real hard stop that's going to be happening. I'm not going to say it's going to be across the board. I'm sure somebody's going to come in and be like, oh, we'll work with you still, blah, blah, blah. But again, there's going to be a lot more hoops to jump through. It's going to change things. I'm not saying safety is a bad thing, but I look at it as, again, risk mitigation. This is going to be the name of the game moving forward. Risk mitigation. How many shippers out there? You don't have to like this message. And I'm not advocating for anybody to go out of business. And I save all of my recordings because I know that there was one that was edited and chopped up to make it sound like I was saying something that I didn't. I keep all my originals. But if you're looking at this from a pure risk standpoint, this fundamentally changes the game. This is going to make a lot of manufacturers and shippers question, how do we avoid any and all liability at all costs? Brokers have, for a long time, shouldered a lot of that liability. I think this is going to create more reliance on brokers that are out there. And I think you're going to see a lot more companies following suit if they haven't already, right? Like everybody reassessed their entire compliance department over these last couple of weeks. I don't care what anybody says. Everybody online had the perfect, everybody's fucking perfect on the internet. I guarantee everybody behind the scenes was dissecting their entire process to make sure, what can we do to ensure that we can't get sued, to protect ourselves and everything else. It changes things. Again, I'm not advocating one way or another. I just think that it's going to make it a lot more challenging for people who are celebrating this ruling. Unless you got your shit in line, right? Like unless you can show. But again, I think this ultimately forces the FMCSA to conduct actual safety audits on a lot of these carriers that are out there and operating in the market. Because if you've been in business for a long period of time and you have no verified safety record on the internet or on the FMCSA database, I think that's going to have to change here soon. And I think you're going to actually see a call from the carrier community to get it done. They're going to start advocating to the FMCSA like, hey, you're costing us business now. We don't have a safety score. We have no scores online, because there's like 90% of the carriers that are in the FMCSA database don't. The legitimate ones are going to go out there. If they don't have any for whatever reason, they're going to start pounding on the FMCSA's door to be like, you got to do something here. You're costing us business. You're going to put us out of business. So these are the after effects of it. Robinson usually leads the way on a lot of these things. And I think a lot of people are following suit and are going to, if they haven't already followed suit to what they're doing out there. But that is going to be it for today, ladies and gentlemen. As always, if you got value and what you heard and you're not subscribed, subscribe to the show. You guys, our data says like 80% of our viewers who tune in on a daily basis haven't hit subscribe yet. So do your boy a solid. Hit subscribe. Let's get this out there. You guys know this is the top show in the industry. Nobody else does the job that I do and talks about it. All right? So I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And we'll be talking to you soon.
Came back with a bang. Window down, yelling out money and